It's this right here. This is Abercrombie and Fitch debacle. Let's go.
The accusers numbering more than a dozen. Their allegations horrifying. Here's ABC's senior investigative correspondent, Aaron Katursky.
We're here today to announce the arrest and charging of 3 defendants.
It was a stunning announcement.
Former CEO of Abercrombie Fitch, Michael Jeffries, Matthew Smith, and James Jacobson.
The former CEO of one of America's most celebrated brands, Abercrombie & Fitch, arrested along with his romantic partner and a business associate.
Their sex trafficking and prostitution enterprise lasted at least from the end of 2008 until early 2015. They spent millions of dollars on a massive infrastructure to support this operation and maintain its secrecy.
Jeffries, who stepped down from Abercrombie in 2014, is accused by law enforcement of using his power and wealth to traffic and sexually exploit more than a dozen young men around the world, many of them aspiring models. The 16-count indictment includes charges of sex trafficking and prostitution. At the heart of the case, the allegations of 15 John Does.
So it's jaw-dropping and shocking in every twist and turn of this case. We've seen R. Kelly go down on similar charges, and in the Southern District of...
So I want to stop right there. So we can stop this because I've seen this talking point a lot. What's the difference between R. Kelly and Hugh Hefner? That's a talking point we can carry right now because they have been getting just as many white men as they black men. You got your Diddy, you got your R. Kellys, then you got your Harvey Weinsteins, you got your Epstein, and now you got the Mike Jeffries, the Abercrombie Fitch CEO. And what's crazy, Netflix just did a documentary with him about last year, the year before last. If I'm not mistaken, they was talking about Abercrombie. There was Abercrombie, wasn't it? Yeah, I think it was Abercrombie.
New York, Sean Combs is facing the exact same charges.
When I saw the charges come down, I said, perhaps this is a continuation of the reckoning that I think we are starting to see in this world of arts and entertainment moving forward.
The arrests are relief to those who have alleged in civil lawsuits they were victimized.
What feels like an evil villain continued to use his power to harm a lot of people. And I don't think he feels bad about it.
To anyone who thinks they can exploit and coerce others by using the so-called casting couch system, this case should serve as a warning.
Jeffries and his romantic partner, Matthew.
So let's talk about the casting couch, right? So my thoughts on the casting couch is going to be a little different. I'm going to say something that I don't really think the casting couch is a bad thing. I'm going to put that out there. I don't think the casting couch is a bad thing, and I'm going to tell you why. But I learned about the casting couch from watching PORN, right? And typically, you know, they had those scenes where the young lady would come in now in a skimpy little outfit with a little shirt, button-down shirt, and, you know, her cleavage was showing. Okay, so then she would come in, and then he'll tell her that she didn't get the job, or basically hint or get her innuendos that, hey, you got to do a little some to get in this dough, right? Now, if somebody propositioned you to do a little shum to get the job, and that shum was something sexual, and you do it, did I really coerce you to do something? Because you could actually leave, apply for another job where you don't have to do some, and you kept your dignity. I'm just saying. So if just why I say, like, if people really want these jobs that bad, because I believe that people should be able to use what they have to get what they want. Right. So I'm just being honest. Like if I just had an abnormally large Peter Walker, right? Not in no weird way. I just, you know, you could tell I pondered on this a little bit. But if I just had just a bigger than normal Peter Walker, I'm pretty sure I would use that to my advantage. I'm just saying, women do it all the time. And if I just had one, I ain't trying to get y'all my business. It ain't like it's little, but it ain't, you know what I'm saying? It ain't porn star-ish. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying, if I work with about 12, I'll be, yeah, you got it. Y'all gonna shit it. I always say this. Hey, if that LeBron James type talent can't just be at the park. Like LeBron James was going to be destined for greatness. He's definitely going to be an NBA player. Like, you're not going to keep that type of talent just in the backyard. So it'd be hard for, like, that's why I be saying, like, women that be liking these dudes that give the best sex or have these big Peter Weckers that women say that they like so much. You mean to tell me I'm just going to leave this talent just for you when I know that it's not this much talent out there in the world? No, I'm going to use it. And so that's why I feel like the casting couch, I feel like it's hard to say somebody coerce you to do something when there's a possibility for you to leave. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it's a possibility for you to leave, now they held you down and forced you, that's a whole nother story. But if it's like left up to you, hey, you could do this, or, you know, you could leave, you might not get the position, you know? And women know what they be doing. Women know exactly what they be doing. That's why a lot of women go and get these BBLs and they augment their body a certain type of way. And they augmenting their body so bad that it's not even in a good way. Like, they getting these wide hips, these big, huge butts that don't match their leg, because they kind of want to be a spectacle, but they kind of want to be a jaw dropper and a showstopper when you walk into these rooms. So women know what's going on. Women know that their sexuality and them being a woman is going to get them in the door. And that's why I don't understand how so many women fumble female privilege. But at the same time, a lot of men got to understand that when you're powerful, that you are a mark in a lot of these situations. So you can say, I got the power. I know, you know, she gonna suck it because she knows she want this role in this movie, or she see me driving this type of car. Yeah, you could think you have the advantage, but it could be 10 years later and she said, hey, he forced me to do XYZ to be on this role, or to be in this car. Well, he promised me something that he never, you know, cashed out on, because that happens a lot. And I think that's why we have a lot more situations where men put women in these positions, literally and figuratively. They put them in these positions to where they don't follow through on the promises that they made. And a lot of women feel slighted, like, you just gonna take my pussy and run, nigga. Like, you can't just take my coochie and run. Like, and you said this, because the only reason I'm doing this is because you promised me something. And that's understandable. Like, if I can get back and get more millions off of you later on, the risk is actually more on the guy's side than the woman's side. But that's just why I feel like the casting couch ain't bad, because if you could leave, just leave.
Matthew Smith were arrested in Palm Beach, Florida. Jeffries is now released on a $10 million bond, while Smith...
Hey, I remember that episode on Boondock with R. Kelly. And I think it was Huey, maybe it was Riley. Riley said, she CP, she stayed. I CP, I move. Like, I kind of think that's my mindset. Like, if you are able to leave, just leave. Like, you know what I'm saying? She CP, she stayed. I CP, I move. Like, that's how I feel about the casting couch.
Remains detained. Their attorneys issued identical statements saying, we will respond in detail to the allegations after the indictment is unsealed and when appropriate, but plan to do so in the courthouse, not the media. Jacobson was arrested in Wisconsin. He appeared in a Minnesota courtroom and was released on bail. His attorneys declined to comment. Court documents allege the length Jeffries, his partner Smith, and their business associate Jacobson used to lure young men to sex events around the globe, from New York to Europe and Morocco.
This indictment is that these three men would use the allure of a modeling career or being associated with Abercrombie and Fitch to seduce and also allegedly rape many of these men.
Prosecutors said the itineraries for some of the events made no mention of sex and instead resembled those often sent to models for photo shoots. Jacobson allegedly acted as a recruiter for Jeffries and Smith.
Jacobson engaged in, quote, tryouts with men across the world where he would typically pay them to engage in sex acts with him.
The federal...
I want to buy your house. I can pay you cash for your house, no matter what condition it's in.
Indictment alleges that prior to sex events, the John Does were physically groomed including at times shaving men's genitals without advance notice.
There were two things that stood out to me to the indictment. One, the
Hold on. So I'm gonna say this. I just seen that. Like, if you're a model and you're a dude, let's say you're a swimsuit model, you know, they be wearing like those underwear that's kind of like V-cut, like up on your balls, kind of your ass for a dude. Wouldn't you kind of have to be shaved to like model those things? I'm just saying that's just something that when I heard, I was like, these guys are models. Most of the time when you see models, they don't have no hair on their chest. They barely have any beards. Like, these are like hairless men. They kind of groom themselves like women do almost. But that's just my thought.
The network that was made and used to facilitate the sex trafficking, but also the use of drugs to induce erections so that people who could not or would not participate in sexual acts were forced to do so.
The defendants.
And we always see this common thing, drugs. Like, our drugs are really that good? The farthest I ever went with a drug, honestly, is just smoking weed. So I'm just trying to figure out, like, you know, coke. I see people do coke and the pink pony and the Xanaxes, and then you got your ecstasies and different meth and fentanyl. Like, you got so many drugs out there. Are drugs really that good? And do drugs really heighten like your orgasms or the sexual experience? Because I know, you know, sometimes smoking a little blunt, sometimes depending on the strand, does make the sex a little bit better. But I don't know if it make it better or you just more relaxed. So I'm not going to just say it's better. And it's been so long since I smoked, I really can't remember. I don't smoke anymore. But it's just like, when I'm thinking about it, is drugs really that good? Is it that much better?
Pressured the men to consume alcohol, Viagra, and muscle relaxants known as poppers during the sex events.
At the sex events, the indictment alleges staff controlled the entry and exit and directed men to wear costumes and use sex toys. Prosecutors claim the victims were sometimes paid for attending the events and forced to sign non-disclosure agreements. It's a staggering fall for the once highly successful CEO of Abercrombie & Fitch.
Mike Jeffries expanded Abercrombie & Fitch from a small apparel store in the United States to a massive enterprise throughout the world.
Jeffries helped turn the brand into a cultural phenomenon.
In the mid to late 90s specifically, Abercrombie & Fitch was everywhere. It was very much giving coastal prep boy energy, very preppy, very country clubby, very much the moment.
Popular among teens, Abercrombie's marketing campaigns in commercials like these, selling sexy images of shirtless men and barely dressed women.
Yeah, they were like these videos, you could tell they're actually selling sex. Like, y'all remember, and y'all may not remember this because she's not really as big of an artist interview-wise, but Ari Lennox had an interview about 3 or 4, maybe a little bit, about 3 or 4 years ago. She had an interview, right? And the interviewer had asked her about sex, a sexual question. I don't know the gist of the question, but it was a sexual question. And she got upset because he asked her a sexual question. And when she got upset, his response to her was, well, you talk about sex. I don't understand why we can't have a conversation about the sex you talk about. And you're here because of your music, which talks about sex and promotes sex, and people are fucking to your music. But as soon as you get in here, you want to talk about what you ate for dinner or how your mama doing? How you like, you are here to talk about your music and promote that. I don't get it. You know that sex sells. I'm pretty sure your PR team has told you that. That's why we had your Glorilla, Carly B's, and Meg Thee Stallion half naked every time you see them bent over, twerking. Glorilla literally was out here at a Steelers game in a swimsuit. I'm not bullshitting. I'm not making this up. She was literally at a Steelers game in a swimsuit. So I don't understand why people get around certain people as if they haven't been flashing images, marketing, and just railroading you. No pun intended, railroading you with all of these sexual images in your windows, phrases, marketing. Like, I remember Abercrombie. I remember back in the day when you go to the mall, they actually had guys standing at the door greeting you with their shirts off. At the damn store. There wasn't a mannequin. Because you walk in the store, see a mannequin all the time. It might be because it ain't dressed, or maybe it is part of marketing. But they had actual guys at the store greeting you when you went in there with no shirt on. It was literally Hooters before it was Hooters, just the guy version. I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping.
Going viral before the word viral was part of the lexicon and sparking controversy too.
The boundaries were absolutely pushed about what was socially acceptable at that time to get this attention. So what you saw in these advertisements a lot of times were a lack of clothing. It's a clothing brand, but you didn't see a lot of clothing.
The Abercrombie look immortalized in songs like LFO's 1999 hit Summer Girls.
I like girls that wear Abercrombie and Fitch.
Everyone wanted to look like a model at Abercrombie. It was influential in our music, to the way that people dressed and the way that people acted.
Some of the models became Hollywood heavyweights: Channing Tatum, Ashton Kutcher, Jennifer Lawrence, Olivia Wilde, and Heidi Klum.
For an aspiring model to land an ad with Abercrombie and Fitch, I mean, that's kind of the penultimate, especially if you're a young male model. The opportunities aren't as vast for you as they are for your female counterparts.
But the company's sales began to sputter in 2011. Jeffrey stepped down in 2014. The brand has also come under scrutiny in the last decade. In a Netflix documentary, White Hot, The Rise and Fall of Abercrombie and Fitch, former models spoke out.
Abercrombie said it wasn't that we were being racially discriminated against, it was that we weren't good looking enough.
In today's criminal indictment, Abercrombie.
Y'all didn't need to be models for Abercrombie. Y'all too black. That's just my take on it, because I don't be understanding if y'all think white people racist or not. But y'all sure do be asking white folks to put y'all in. It's always Jeffrey. Y'all be asking white people to put y'all in their shit. So like I said, I don't know if white people are racist or not. Y'all don't know if y'all be coming and going. And this has nothing to do with Kamala. I just put him in there because it came across what it said at my desk today. And I said, I'm gonna talk about that. But this one, who we about to talk about next, is about Kamala.